Hi everyone, my name's Anne-Marie. Welcome to this episode of Tricks and Techniques, and in this episode we're going to be looking at positional stamping and die cutting. So we're going to make something a little bit like this, where you die cut and you stamp the same item and you get it positioned in the right place to be able to die cut it. All will be revealed as we go on. So the first thing I'm going to tell you is a little bit about what we're going to actually use. Now this is a stamp and a die set from Spellbinders, and in the set it's called Totally You. In the set you get 2 dies and a set of stamps. The stamps match the dies perfectly, and the whole idea is to marry them up to make something stunning for your projects, whether you're card making or you're scrapbooking. So, but the thing is, you need to be able to position your stamps and your die cuts to be able to make them perfect. So I thought, because I've been asked about doing this, I thought it would be an ideal opportunity to be able to show you how to stamp your die cuts basically, and show you that it's quite easy and you don't have to have a special gift or anything. So I'm going to start off with a piece of plain white card. Now it's roughly about 220 GSM. This is an acrylic block, and you're going to need acrylic blocks for stamping if you're using a silicone based stamp or anything that's not on a wood base. So these stamps are the red rubber stamps. They peel out of the sheet really easily, and you're going to pop them onto your block like that, and then you're going to take an ink pad to your stamp and gently tap the ink onto the stamp. If it's a brand new stamp, you might want to use a little bit of sellotape just to take the residue away from the top of the stamp. So then we're going to stamp onto our white card. Now I'm going to be quite wasteful for this because I want to show you how to do it without having to try and keep my card to use for something else. So I know a lot of you will be, oh, you've used a whole sheet for just that one bit. Well, don't worry, I just want to be able to show you how to do it without having to worry about position. So I've turned the stamp over and I'm pressing firmly onto my card, and now I've got a nice stamped image of the actual label that we're going to die cut. So I'm going to put the stamp out of the way for now, and I'm going to take the die, and the die fits perfectly over the stamped image. So I'm just going to pop this down and I'm going to position it in the perfect place around the side of the die cut. Now you can do one of two things here. You can either now lift that onto your cutting machine and wing it, hoping that you're going to get it in the right position, or you can use a little bit of low tack tape and you can just tape it into position like that. Oops, see, now if I hadn't have taped that down, so tape the other side down, and I'm just going to take that little bit of tape away because it was a bit higher than the rest. So that is firmly taped in position like that. So now I'm going to pop that through my cutting machine. Now we've already looked at die cutting, so you'll know what I'm doing. I know I'm slightly out of camera shot, but you'll see the results when I'm finished. So, because I can't show you the machine and everything at the same time. So that's where I've just die cut it. Take the platform away, take the base plate away, and the top plate. And now I can peel that away from the card. So you peel the tape away like so. There we go. And So now that's nicely die cut and it's still in our die. The one that I showed you originally is slightly tinted. I don't know if you could see that, just around the edges. Well, I'm just going to show you how to do that before I take it out of the die. I've got an ink blender. Now you would normally do this flat, and you just simply take your blender around the edge, a little bit more ink, and while it's still in the die, just go around the edge, because when I remove the die, that's what's going to give the paler edge to the edge that you've inked, if that makes sense. So normally you want to do that on your inking mat, but just for time, because I want to show you how to do it. So now I've inked around the edge, I can take my little die cut out of the die, and you can see how the edge is still white, but we've got that little bit of colour in the middle. So I'm just going to put that to one side for now, because I want to be able to do the actual tag as well for you. So we're going to go back to our sheet of stamps, and I'm just going to peel out the stamp that says it's all bouquet. I'm popping that onto my block, and I'm inking it up with the ink, which is from Spellbinders, and it's the Celebrations ink pad by Richard Gray, and it's the Berry Black. So I'm going to take another sheet of card, and I'm simply going to stamp that through the middle, and that's not a very good stamp, Anne-Marie, so we're just going to do it again. Seems I was a bit heavy-handed there with my ink, so I'll show you a little trick. Once you've inked your stamp up, then if you think you've got ink around the edge, you're going to simply take a cloth, imagine my finger as a cloth, and you're going to run the cloth around the edge of the stamp to take that little bit of excess ink away, and then hopefully when you stamp you'll get a nice clean image with no edges that hasn't bled like that one. Okay, so that's an extra tip there for you. So make sure you just clean the edges of your actual stamps. So next what we can do is exactly the same with the tag die. So I'm thinking I'm going to wing this, because I can hold it and die cut it in the right place, and I know that's quite naughty of me, but I've done this a few times before and I know that it'll work for this. So I'm just running it through my machine and then reaching over to get my die, and again we can ink this while it's in the actual die, like we did for the other one, and just add a little bit of ink at each side. You can add as much or as little as you like. So this will simply peel out of the die. If you've used tape, obviously peel your tape away. Do remember to use a low tack tape though, because you don't want to tear your card. So then we can go back to our first die cut, and because it's simply tags, we can slot our label through the back, and that is how we do positional stamping and die cutting. Remember, low tack tape is your best friend because you're going to stamp first, then place your die on your card or your paper, tape it down and run it through your machine, and that's what you're left with. I think it's a great technique. I do love the stamping and the die cutting and then toning of your die cuts. So I'd just like to say I hope you've enjoyed this tricks and techniques video. Please give me the thumbs up if you have. There's 31 days through January of lots of different things. Some are very basic for beginners, some are a little bit more advanced. They're all mixed up, they're not in any order, so be sure to watch every day. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.